track and manage projects with SP Project Tracker, an out-of-the-box solution for Office 365 and SharePoint from SP Marketplace. SP Marketplace helps you deliver a digital workplace experience leveraging Office 365 and SharePoint. We allow you to actually create a portal and application environment where users from anywhere, any place, on any device can go through a common user portal and application experience to access resources, processes, collaborate, and get news and information. We've built SP Digital Workplace Suite to allow you to drive adoption of Office 365 and automate different processes across your organization. And we find that makes employees much happier and much more productive, as well as the whole organization much more organized. Our SP Workplace Solutions Suite is built on Office 365 and SharePoint. They are no-code solutions that are 100% customizable. And we provide a full set of applications and portals across your organization. We also, besides the out-of-the-box solutions we provide a set of what we call our SharePoint Power Tools that allow you to change the applications and enhance things around forms processing, notifications and smart notifications, actions, data integration, and so on, that takes SharePoint way above its standard capabilities and is designed for power users to use. In this demonstration video, we're going to be taking a look at our Project Tracker product. SP Project Tracker is a SharePoint site solution that is pre-built for you to manage projects, have project team members participate, and report effectively on projects across your organization. They're delivered as a SharePoint solution template. It's natively built on Office 365 and SharePoint as a no-code solution. It's 100% customizable by business power users, so you do not need SharePoint experts or developers. It integrates with your intranet structure or our intranet structure, and it leverages, if you're running SharePoint online, Office 365 tools such as Skype for Business and groups and teams and other things. SP Project Tracker basically supports the whole project lifecycle, from project requests and the ability to submit them, evaluate them, report on them, and then approve them. Once a project request is approved, you can create the projects. And the projects can either be what we call a standard or pro projects, which actually has its own site. You actually can go in and define the team. You can define task, dates, and budget around the projects. And you can even use and create task templates or project site, subsite templates to use if you have repeating types of projects as well. And then when the project is actually started, you can manage the project through role-based workspaces. And we also provide a super view where you can take a look at the project and also see all related tasks, documents, issues, status as well. And you can also customize it to add things like risk lists or other things related to the project. And you can even cross-reference them with our CRM product, which would be for client-type projects as well. The user interface is through role-based workspaces. Workspaces for the project management office, which is overseeing, administering all the projects, the project managers, and the project teams. It also has roll-up reporting and a dashboard so that you can see across all projects on the status of the project as well. Now, I mentioned earlier about standard and pro projects. We have a couple of project structures. The first one is for standard projects, and these are for smaller, perhaps internal projects, maybe IT projects, marketing, whatever it might be. And this is where you define a project. You also have task, issues, and documents related to the projects, and you can also create status reports. all of this is kept on the main project tracker site. There's not a separate site for it, but the team and the project team can see all of their information. The nice thing about standard projects is it actually allows you to look across all project task issues and documents, not just for this project, but all projects out there, because it's all on the same site, and it's excellent and easy to use way to track projects. Now, we also have what is called pro projects. And pro projects are a little bit different. They track the same things, but we actually create a project subsite for the project. And so the project, rather than being managed on a page in standard projects, is actually managed in its own SharePoint subsite. And this is best used for large projects with lots of tasks, or maybe you need to hook in with MS Project Pro or Professional. Also, if you have projects with external users, could be contractors, could be clients, whatever it might be, this is usually a better way to go. And with this, what we do is we keep the project information, the main project information and status reports on the main site, but we have a sub-site, which is in essence a collaboration site for the team, where you have your tasks, issues, documents. You can even add things like Yammer as well to actually create a collaboration site for this project. So again, simple projects with standard projects, pro projects allows you to actually create subsites as well. And both of these report into a common reporting capability, which can be executive reporting, department reporting, category reporting as well. And we also have a Power BI dashboard that is hooked into Project Tracker to do a full dashboard reporting at your executive level too. So let's take a look at the product. Okay, I'm in the Project Tracker out here now, and this is a SharePoint site. It is part of my Office 365, so you can see here's my mail and calendar. You can even launch it from the 365 app launcher, or we actually go to it from our intranet here as well. Now, one of the things that just to note in this demonstration, I'm actually in here as an administrator, so there will be things like this for the page and edit and some other things that aren't relevant to anybody but the administrator out here. But I don't want to have to be signing in and out here. But just know that everything on the site is actually permission based. So what the user sees here in the menu structure is permission based. So if they're part of the PMO group, then they will see this and they can see everything here. If they're the administrator for the site, they will see the administration components here. That's where they can control, what's on different buttons out here and so on. Then there also is those that can see all projects, and this is more for maybe directors, VPs that are over several projects and may want to do reporting. There is access to all project resources. Resources being not just the project, but documents, issues, tasks, milestones, and so on across all projects. Then we have a couple of workspaces, the PM workspace, this is for project managers, and then project team workspace for team members. So if I was a team member coming in here, I'd probably only see PT Home and the PM or the project team workspace. So you can limit these by permission group. This is called audiences. So on the front page, when I come in here, this is the home page for Project Tracker, and you can have announcements across all the PMO as well. We can see that we have open projects, and again, this is based on permissions and so on. And same with these things here too. That's kind of administrator related stuff. And I can also see all project requests that have been put in. I can enter a new project request. I can go to my project's workspace if I'm a PM, for instance, and there's a project dashboard on Power BI, which we'll take a look in just a little bit. So let's first of all take a look at the concept of a new project request. So this actually starts the whole process out. And so if I enter this, we'll see that it brings up a form, and I can fill this out with a project title that I want to have for the project, what category it's in, maybe what department it's related to. You could also have it related to a client. There's a client list built within the product. It's just not showing. The requester, who the stakeholder might be, who the approver is on it, and information about plan, start date, end date, approval deadlines. And then it gets into, who the team is, perhaps who the client is, if that's relevant. If you client is not relevant, we can remove any field and you can add any new fields. And then there's the measures. What's the budget for it, the business case, justification, objective, where does it fit from a priority and rank here as well. So this is in essence where you actually submit and start new projects here. And you can actually go across and see all projects requests. There are different views for them, and you can sort and filter on them as well too. And for instance, you could look at just all open requests versus ones that have been approved, for instance here, so by status as well. So when a project is submitted, you can actually, what it'll do is actually go to the approver, which was identified in the request there, and they will be asked to approve it. They open it up and actually can put an approval on there. Our forms actually are also audience-based, so that approver can go in and approve it on the approval field, and they're the only ones that can do that as well. So the other thing too, just so you know, and if you're familiar with SharePoint at all, you know that you can do things, for instance, like sort by or group by department, where you can select, certain project categories or priorities here too. So this view is completely dynamic and changeable and sortable, all that type of thing as well. And we can also go in, we've already got some things here that says, new My Project Request, new project request. We could also have approved ones. Now, once a project request is approved, the notice goes to the PMO administrator, and then this is where they can actually create and set up a new project here. They could also take a look at any time at the projects list, request list. And again, this also can be permission-based, such that once it's submitted, only a certain group of people can see it. And again, only the PMO group can go in and see this menu structure as well. But once it's approved, then we go to the project setup page. Now we can optionally have the project automatically, some of the information automatically put in, but there are things that are choices and everything else that the PMO person is going to have to do anyway. So let me point out some things before we actually create a new project, and that would be about standard tasks here. So the nice thing is you can actually go in and create a new project and then add standard tasks to it. So I might do the 2020 budget project, and there's a standard task list for all the budget tasks because it's an annual thing we always do. You can also add pro tasks and even create sub-site templates that apply to a project as well. I can also go in and see the clients list from here. I can go in and see the resources and so on that I may want to add. And there's even task categories, and this is where you actually have the standard task templates here as well. But let's go in and let's assume we're going to do a project that already has a set of tasks. So with this one, I'm going to actually create a budget 2020 project. So I will call it budget 2020, and I'm going to make this a standard project. So if you remember, standard project does not create a subsite. There is no client. It is for the finance department, and it is going to be a budgeting project here. The status is open. I will be the primary owner of the project, and we are going to have Tom as one of the project team members. We're going to have Donna also as one of the project team members. And most of this down here is more status information, but we are going to run the project and actually start it from June, okay, through the end of August. Okay, and overall, we're not going to really put in budget or planned hours for this one, but we could. And so I can go ahead, I can also put in a description here, and as the project goes along, we can actually keep track of comments at the top of the project level. So I'll go ahead and hit save, and we'll actually see on the project list that it created a new project. Now, at this point, the next thing I want to do is if we look at the project now, there will be no tasks on it. So I'm going to actually add a standard set of tasks, apply them to this project. So I can go in and I can see our budget 2020 project, and I'm going to go in and select the budgeting tasks for this. And I'm going to apply. And what it does is it actually now is copying from that standard task template and applying it to this project out here. And while we do that, I'm going to let that go ahead and go. Okay, we can see that it's added the task. If I go back to the setup page here, I do want to show you something. If we were to create another project but make it a pro project, our dynamic forms actually recognize this. And so if I go in and say, I want to make this a pro project, all of a sudden you see that most of the fields are the same here, but what it does is as a primary owner and another owner here, and what it'll do is it'll actually create a subsite that is in the name of the project here, and it connects it with this project list item here automatically. So that's the nice thing, and it'll create the permission group for the team and everything else, so the whole subsite process is automatic. Now, we'll take a quick look at other things here. From the PMO, they can also manage announcements, project resources, the clients list, and also see the all projects list here too for just administering and managing across or seeing what's going on with projects too. Now, on the projects themselves, we'll take a look at this and actually open up our new project and add some documents and modify task lists and so on as well too. So if we take a look at this, we can see there's some reports here that we'll take a look at. We can look at open projects drill down, all projects list, and even look at cross projects in a Gantt chart too as well. And then in project resources, this is where we can actually look across all documents, all issues, all projects for standard projects, and also status list across all projects too. But let's go ahead and go to our project, and I can actually start working on it here. So I'm going to go to the PM Workspace since I was the owner of the project. Okay, and we can see here is my project. Here we can see that we actually already created the annual budget project 2019, and this is the budget 2020. And so I can go in and start working on this project right from here. This is all my open projects. I can actually see and drill down on my projects and see what team members are on what projects. And there's a number of things. I could go in and see my projects through a Gantt chart, and I could see all my project tasks here as well. And this is actually across all projects here too. So, but let's go in and start working on the budget 2020 project. Okay, and you can see now all of a sudden I've got many more kind of tabs here as well. I can say that here that a description, I could put in a description that says company budget creation for our 2020 fiscal year as well. I could put comments in here and in here, so I could put, you know, for instance, need to upload the 2019 Excel budget files to reference. So also, if we take a look at tasks now, all of a sudden we see a whole bunch of tasks here, which was actually added from that task list. Now I could go in and add new task, edit task, assign tasks, set start and end dates as well. There is an issues capability here, and I'm going to just add a new issue. And an issue is unknown 2020 tax structure. Okay, so who knows? They always change the tax structure, and I'm going to actually assign this to Tom to watch out for that and get any information for that. So this is, in essence, it's an issue. It's assigned to Tom, and it's saying, hey, this is something that really needs to be addressed here. And I'll just put myself in as project owner, and I can put in a due date here as well. But I'll just leave this open. Now what will happen is Tom actually gets a notification, and this is always attached to the project. So when we're in the project, we can see where this is at or any other issues related to the project. I can also upload documents. So I can go ahead and add a new document. And I'm just going to put in some information here. One of them is old versus new salary overhead right here, which will be a reference document that we'll be taking a look at. And obviously there's going to be a lot more documents that we're going to add in here. And I can even link it to a specific project task if I wish to. So we'll do that, and we'll check that document in. Okay. And then there's status reports. This is as we go through the project, I can add a new status report. This is typically either monthly, weekly, it's a periodic one. And we can also link to discussions if we want, or we could actually use Yammer. This is using SharePoint discussions as well. So now we've gone in and done some of this as well. I could go in also, and we can go in and set, for instance, a end target date for board approval and open this task. And I can also go into more of a spreadsheet type of view of the tasks and modify a whole bunch of them at once. But here I could go in and say, I've got this task, project owner. I'm going to assign this task to Donna here. And we're going to say that this really needs to be started in our June, the first thing in June. Okay, and the planned end date for this task is actually, we'll have to arrange it with the board and so on. So it should just take a couple days to do that as well. Oops, sorry about that. So this is in essence how you can assign and set tasks. And as I said, you can also do it in a much faster way using a spreadsheet. You can set priority tasks, the task status here. It could actually be part of a project phase here. So if there was different phases, so this is actually part of the setting the budget timeline phase. You could actually define milestones and the planned hours for this and the budget cost for it and so on. So there's a whole bunch of things that we've added to the task list that for each task. But I'm just going to go ahead and save that, and then Donna will be alerted to that. And when she comes in as a team member, she'll be able to see that as well too. So now we've gone in and set some of the project areas up, and I'll just save that. So let's just take a look at how I also can work with the project in other things too. So again, I can look across all my projects here. This is again just the PM Manager workspace. I could add a new project issue at any time. I don't have to be in the project itself. I could upload things to project documents. I do have to identify, what project it's for. I could create a new status report. So let's take a look at what a status report looks like. And this is something that, again, is something you might be adding to for a weekly type basis. And let's just go look at, I can add this in. And by the way, this is how you can also change tasks here as well. But I'm going to go ahead and look at all status reports. We'll see one that's already been filled in. So here's one from the last budget process, and we can see that that was towards the end of last year. And if we take a look at the status report here. It looks like it's health overall is green, but the scope, it looked like it got out of scope, must have been some extra things, and the time was not quite there as well. And the nice thing about this is you can see a current completion date for the project updated. We can it's all information about from the project manager, and it also has information that if we were to go and do, say, a monthly type of update, we could also see information, comments about project status, what we accomplished in the last segment of time, also in the last week or in the last month, major activities planned, and so on. And you can add any fields you want to this as well. Okay, and I can, of course, look across all my status reports, or I could look at it for that specific project as well, too. So for the project manager, it's really kind of everything at their fingertips right here. And this was for a standard project. If I were to go in and look at another project, let's go take a look at a pro project here too. But one thing I do want to identify, this is what we call a drill down view. And if I wanted to go see information here about the Budget 2020 project, the nice thing is on one view, I can see all the things. There's the issue I put in, there's the document as well, and there's always instructions. There's instructions here, and there's actually instructions on how to use the product down here as well too. So a nice workspace for the project manager. Okay, let's go take a look across projects though and see what type of reporting and views we can have of different projects. So with this, I'm going to go to the projects area, and this is more for, it could be for PMs if you want to allow them to do it, but if you want to, it's also for your executives. So we can see a list of all projects here and get an overview of the projects. And again, we can actually do any, like I only want to see open ones, or I want to see only the ones that are at risk. All I have to do is go in here and say I want to see the ones at risk, and we're going to focus on those. I'll go ahead and clear that there. You can change any of the fields that we're seeing here as well too. And there are different views that we've already created, and you can create your own views too. So we can see it by client, by department here as well. And so it gives us a good way to look at all of our projects here. So if I was the CFO, I could go in and take a look at these too. And just for those. We can also, when we get down here, we can also have it be filtered by department. So I could look at just the IT projects. If I was the CIO, if I was the CFO, I could just look at my projects as well too. There. So that's kind of the basic project reporting that you can do, and it is with SharePoint lists, and it means you can actually do really anything you want here. You can roll up and so on. Another way to look at all projects is through a Gantt chart as well too. So here we have all of our projects listed here, and we can see how they overlap, where they're at in here, and this is a nice way to look at it, and you can actually decide what you want to view. You can actually sort and filter this view too and look at it in different ways. So this is across projects. You can also do this Gantt view on your project and on your task list too. And then one other view that we have for projects is also what we call our drill down. And this is great for if you're doing a project review and somebody says, hey, you know, this one's at risk, or the solar upgrade's on track, but this one's at risk. Let's take a look at why that is. And this is where you can actually, again, in this drill down view, like we saw with the project manager, you can go in and see different task details that are in here, different status reports, related issues here, and so on that may be impacting the project. So it's a way to, kind of drill down and say what's going on with this project as well. Now, one of the things too that you see here, and we haven't looked at, is our pro project. So this Cedarville project here, if we take a look at that and open that here, what we'll actually see is that it doesn't have as many of the tabs here. The documents, the issues, and the tasks are actually not on here. And the reason is this is actually a pro project. And it does roll up information from that, but with this, there is a project site that is a subsite for this pro project. So it rolls up overview project information, but what we have here is a separate site that is for this project team. So this project overview is actually a link to the project list item up above, but there are the project tasks, the documents, the contacts, even discussions and announcements are all built into this project site. And the nice thing is you can actually go here and share it and invite external users to it as well. And you can also add new users to the team or take people off the team as part of the project management workspace here as well. But this allows you to actually set up a collaboration space that is specific to this project, and you can also secure it from the rest of the projects too. And again, you can make any changes to these, any 100% customizable. You can even create multiple project space templates too as well. So let's just go back to the home page here. So we've now seen how a project manager can manage things. We've seen how the PMO can actually create projects and manage projects and resources. You can add additional lists, by the way, and cross-reference those lists. Like sometimes people want risk out there. Finally, we also have what's called a project team workspace. And it could be that this is the only thing along with the home page that a team member sees when they come in. Again, remember, I kind of have all the access. So we see everything here, but for different team members. So I can come in and see my projects. I can see any issues I'm assigned to across projects. I can see my assigned project tasks by project here. Now this is for the standard projects. If it is for the pro projects, I would have to link out to the project site because it is secured. I can also see any project documents here as well too. And I could even see any new shared documents for that project. I can also go in and create a new project issue if I found it, or see my project issues. I could go in and see any status reports that I may have created. Now in some cases there. And there's a task quick edit here. So if I want to go in and see my tasks, but I want to go in and update them, this is where I would do it. And again, I don't have to open up the tasks. I can go ahead and just update these tasks. And by the way, the project manager has the same thing for all tasks under his or her project, so that he can actually go in when we create those templated tasks and quickly assign them out and copy in dates and everything else as well too. So overall, we've now seen kind of the role-based, we've seen the different projects out there, and kind of the one thing I like to top it off with is we also have created for executive and purposes here a Power BI dashboard. And the Power BI dashboard really is kind of your overview of all projects. And the really cool thing is that it is dynamic, and that I could go in and I can say I want projects only for a certain start and time frame, by department, by category, by who the owners are. I could even go do it by clients or categories as well here too. And it does do a roll-up of all project budgets as well too. So the nice thing is, for instance, if I wanted to see, look, I just want to see this project, I can pick it here and it'll change everything to just show everything about that project. Or if I want to see just finance projects, I can go ahead and do that as well too. So hopefully this has been helpful for you, but the project tracker is really an easy to use way to manage projects. All you have to have is standard SharePoint. We can link in with 365 groups and teams here. We actually can put links to those as well. If you're sharing some of those via that, we can even link into their OneDrive, and we're actually working on being able to link projects right now to Planner as well. So hopefully this has been helpful. Thanks for taking the time for looking at our product demo. Remember, SP Marketplace can really help you get the most out of Office 365 by transforming Office 365 into a digital workplace. With our digital workplace solutions, a set of intranet portal structure, and powerful applications built on SharePoint and Office 365. Get white papers, see videos, learn more at spmarketplace.com.